We're here today to submit freedom of information requests on behalf of Rage Against the Regime to the Department of Finance, and we're asking for all of the Anglo tapes and the Bank of Ireland tapes and the Allied Irish tapes, and then we're also asking for all the files and records, basically the Anglo file. And we're doing the freedom of information request today because we also have a copy of the statute of limitations on fraud, which shows that if a legal action for fraud isn't taken within 6 years, then it can't be taken. And we are very concerned that the statute of limitations has expired or is about to expire, and that all of the bankers and all the people responsible for the fraud that has occurred in Ireland will get away scot-free.
It's crucially important, and it's important that the people ask the real questions and the most important questions. The call to jail the bankers is somewhat redundant, I believe, because the evidence suggests that there is no longer a Garda investigation into what's happened. The DPP hasn't moved on Anglo or any of the other banks in any proceedings of criminal activity. The information is now in the public domain through the Irish Independent, which we believe gives us the right also to have the information. They shouldn't be allowed to secure it for their own purposes, to sell papers. The Garda investigation seems to be finished because there has been no Garda inquiry into how this evidence went from Garda headquarters to the Independent. The Gardaí haven't injuncted the paper from releasing any further information which might jeopardise prosecution cases. So it seems to be that a criminal investigation is dead in the water, and this now has become a political football, and it's wrong to be used like that. And if there's any further delay, then the statute of limitations means that these people who may be criminals could actually be home and dry if an inquiry is set up now and takes, as was claimed yesterday in the Sunday Times, 2 years to complete.
Yeah. How are you doing? I want to hand in these two requests for information from the department under freedom of information. One on behalf of myself, Paul Madden, and the other for Vincent Salafia. And we're asking for copies of the Anglo tapes, the AIB tapes, Bank of Ireland tapes, and the Anglo files. Are you under pressure?
Yes, and I've joined someone else.
That's fine.
Minister, we have a gentleman here. He's looking for some FOI requests for Anglo tapes and I'll just put him on to you because he'll be able to explain himself a bit better now. You okay?
Hello. Hi. I'm submitting in two applications for information under freedom of information, just at your reception. They relate to the Anglo tapes and files surrounding that. Can I leave them at reception here? Very good. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Now, you just said to leave them with you. Done.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. Cheers. Minister.
How are you doing?
Howland.
Stand at the steps.
Coming out.
Stand at the steps.
Hi, Minister. Minister, are you aware of the statute of limitations on fraud expires after 5 or 6 years?
So these bankers are home and dry potentially, and you've done nothing. Nothing.
Shame on you. Shit, pity we didn't get that.
Is that recorded? That's recorded.
right, let's go.
Walk up behind them and keep after them. Go after them. Come on.
All right.
Minister, the Anglo bankers may be home and dry. They may actually be home and dry. There'll be no chance of prosecution. The statute of limitations will run out. The statute of limitations will run out before the end of the year on this information.
We're asking you a question.
Why was the Garda investigation stopped? Why was it abandoned? There's no Garda investigation. The DPP will not move on this. The DPP will not make any move to prosecute on this. Previous government and this government have sat on this information and done nothing. They've absolutely betrayed the people.
Statute of limitations for fraud expires after 6 years maximum. Starts running from the time you knew or should have known about the fraud. We submitted an application for freedom of information today for the Anglo tapes, the Anglo files, the Bank of Ireland tapes, the AIB tapes, and we're also calling on the Minister for Justice, if you're talking to him, to maybe talk to the DPP and force them to take legal action for fraud.
No comment, no comment, Minister, no. That's recorded.
Who are you? That's all he said. Who are you? Who are you? I said I'm a citizen of Ireland. Who are you?
Well, we just saw Minister Howlin and asked him why has there been no move to prosecute on these tapes. The statute of limitations is about to run out. These possible criminals, anybody who's potentially criminally liable under what happened, is, for all intents and purposes, home and dry now. They will never be prosecuted. Nobody will go to jail for what happened. The government and previous government have sat on this information. They've done nothing about it. They've betrayed the people, abandoned the people, and they've turned this story into a political football which will be used now by Fine Gael and Labour in the next election campaign, because they will say that, well, we set up the public inquiry, we set up the Oireachtas inquiry, and the results of that will not be published before the next election. So they will campaign on the premise that they have to be put back into government for the job to be completed. They're hoping that that's what will happen. The important questions still haven't been answered in this issue, and the people have a right to know everything now. Full disclosure. The Independent have no authority to secure this information for their own purposes, and we want to know the full facts without edited, with full disclosure right now, and that's our right as citizens of the country.